Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Well, I don't need to say anything apart from we need forward players urgently. So let's get to the latest transfer news. So this is the latest coming out from Miguel Delaney today. So there's a lot on what our situation is with the forward players and a couple of other players. Mikel Arteta wants a forward, but he's not going to go all out publicly for numerous reasons. Mikel Arteta loves Nico Williams, but his wage demands are very high. The club have a growing interest for Victor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko. This is according to Miguel Delaney. So for me, I usually watch the interviews right after the game, the post-match interviews right after the game. I do watch that, not even all the times, because sometimes like I jump into like to record the reviews or do the shows, whatever. I don't usually watch those post-match reactions too much, and definitely for conferences, I don't usually watch conferences. Not for any manager at all. Maybe once in a whole season, so I don't get wound up or whatever is said in the conference, but obviously later on you get to know what has been said, especially if there's something out of the ordinary. So for me, I don't usually care about what he has to say in the conference, as long as we're winning games on the pitch, and also obviously doing the business off the pitch, for a couple of reasons, obviously, as well. Sometimes people don't say the truth in the conference, obviously, and I also feel like some journalists just try to poke you with the knife from behind, from the back, and you know what I mean. I don't usually like watching those conferences, so I don't usually care a lot about what he has to say there. So for those people have said that he's really like annoying them from what he's saying at the conferences, I do understand, because when you say we've been playing well and you're happy with the boys and you love them and all that, after we've had 49 shots or something and we've only scored one goal the last two games. We've had 10 big chances the last 2 games. 10 big chances. We've missed all 10 of them. Like, we've not even scored one. That is absolutely shocking. And it's even more downing that it's not even one player. Havertz has missed the most of them, but it's Havertz missing, it's Martinelli missing, even Rice. I thought Rice had a good game yesterday, but he missed those chances as well. Like, it's different players missing those big chances. So that is a massive worry. Like, I was just looking at it yesterday, like how many chances we've missed, like big chances, if you even go to last 2 months against Monaco. Like, we had like 3 or 4 one-on-one chances. Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, we missed all of them. Even Ipswich, like 3 or 4 players who don't have the blame at all in this team. Players like Gabriel and players like Saliba, I think they've done incredibly well. I don't usually try to blame them at all. They've made a couple of mistakes here and there, but they're still the ones who are actually shining even through the tougher times. But there was a chance that Gabriel missed against Ipswich as well, the open header that could have been 2-0. And then if you look at Havertz's recent chances, and then if you look at Rice's recent chances, and then if you go to Brighton, Merino, and then Liverpool, Merino as well missed 2 chances in those games. If you go to the United game in the Premier League party, missing an open header, like there's so many chances in each game. We can even go all the way back to Inter Milan when he missed like hundreds of chances in that match as well. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. We are missing so many chances. So we definitely need forward players. So you would expect the manager to say something like, yeah, it's not good enough. You're trying to see what you're going to do. We definitely need improvements. So you don't have to say that, nah, I'm not happy with Havertz, it's terrible. Managers cannot say that about your player. You cannot say that. So you don't have to say that. But, a little bit of honesty where fans are like, yeah, at least you're actually feeling the same way that we're doing. But Miguel Delaney does say that he actually does feel the same way that we are feeling, that he wants a forward player, but he's not saying it publicly. I do understand the fact of not saying it public. I mean, it can go in 2 ways. If you say it publicly, maybe, the players actually know that you're not happy with them at all, which is great. Maybe he has actually told them inside the dressing room, no problem. But also, if there's the other side as well. Maybe if you tell them that, and then you don't actually get a forward player, and they know like you don't have any confidence in them at all, maybe it can ruin everything else. But hey, listen, we just need to get a forward player. So according to Miguel Delaney, we do want a forward player. ARTETA does want a forward player, as Nico Williams, but the wages are high. I think we have to pay those wages, whichever it is. For a couple of players, absolutely no problem. I said you can't get 20 players and pay them 200,000 plus. You have to keep it obviously reasonable. But for the players we need, the forward players that we need, because at the moment right now, obviously, a year ago, Paul would say you only need a striker. You know, a few months ago, Paul said you only need one player, two players, the backup for Saka. But right now, people are now saying, you know, 3-4 players, because Trossard has not been playing well, Martinelli has not been playing well, Havertz has not been playing well, Jesus is now injured, Saka is now injured. So all of a sudden, it's 3-4 players. And in the summer, Tini will be leaving, Zinchenko might be leaving, Kivio might be leaving. All of a sudden, we need another defender as well. We don't want it to get to a point where all of a sudden we need like another 6-7 players again. That is what we needed 4 years ago. We needed up to 15 players. Right now, we don't need 15 players. We need like 2-3 more into this team. Let's not let it go worse and worse and worse until like everyone goes down, and then, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, the levels go down, and then you have to having to look for 11, 12 players. We don't want that kind of situation. So we have to be quick in terms of that. And one position that we definitely need to improve on is the forward position. So those 3 players have been mentioned. Let's go to this as well. According to Miguel Delini as well, Arsenal have a growing interest in sporting CPs Victor Gyokeres to go with Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, but the former would require 8 million. They would rather spend in the summer, but the time is now. Time is to act. The time to act is now. Says Miguel Delaney. So I don't think we have time to wait to the summer. Listen, we can't get all 3 players that we want right now. Yes, but we urgently need a forward player. And if we don't have money to sign a winger, we need to get someone on loan. And then at the end of the season, we go ahead and sign a midfielder, because Jorginho will be leaving and Partey's contract is ending. So we need a midfield in the summer. And then, you know, if we lose all those defenders, all of a sudden we need one more defender, because we cannot rely on Tomiyasu anymore. And Calafiori has been injured a lot. So we definitely need another defender at the end of the season as well. So that is for the end of the season. Defender, midfield, that's for the end of the season. And then a winger. That is fine. But for right now, we need a forward player and someone on loan. So whether you're signing a winger like Nico Williams and a forward player on loan, a striker, or you're doing it vice versa, absolutely no problem. But I think we seriously need 2 players. Because when Saka was fit and Jesus was fit, we still needed a forward player. So now Saka is injured, we still needed a forward player. Jesus is now injured. Now, does that mean you need 3 forward players? On top of that, Havertz, Trossard, and Martinelli are not playing well. Does that mean you need 6 forward players? Not really. For me, I'm not saying sell Martinelli in the summer or sell Havertz right now. No. But I did say at the before the season started, we cannot depend on them. That is the word I said. I know Havertz has scored like 36 goals and assists this past year, which is absolutely great. It's not as good as we want, but it's good, which means it's not like a completely terrible player like we had like with Bentner and those kind of players. But you cannot depend on him. If you bring him on for 25 minutes and then he's starting one game and then, you know, he's on the bench for the next game, that is fine. But depending on him every single game, why he's missing open goals and then he's the only player you have and then you have to start in the next game, we cannot have that. You have to have an out-and-out striker. And then if Havertz is coming on, that is fine. If Martinelli is coming on, that is fine. I'm not asking for them to be sold. It's going to be very difficult to sell all of them. You know, I think we're already losing like 4 or 5 players in the summer in TNE and Jorginho, potentially Partey because his contract is ending. Neto will be going back to his club. Sterling will probably go back to his club. So there's still like 7, 8 players who are leaving. So I don't think you can sell 15 players and then try and get another 10 players. You have to keep some. So the likes of Martinelli will have to stay, unless if you're selling one of them, it's going to be one of them. Between Trossard, Havertz, and Martinelli, you can't sell 2 or 3 of them. It's not possible. You're going to still need squad players. And right now, we've seen how important it is to have squad players. We just don't have enough players in our team. So obviously, Gyokeres would be the best signing that you could make. Sesko is someone that we wanted last summer. Unfortunately, we didn't get him. I think you'd definitely have done better than what we have right now. And then there's this. This is according to Scott Wilson. Bournemouth value Antoine Semenyo at 50 million. So, sorry, would you guys want Semenyo at Arsenal? He's been doing great at Bournemouth. 50 million is a bit high for me, though. If we have 50 million to spend on someone like Semenyo, I'd rather go for players like Kudus. I'd rather go for players like Mbeumo, to be honest. Like Semenyo would probably be like 4th on that list. I'd have Kudus ahead of him. I'd have Mbeumo ahead of him. And maybe another player there. Because if you're going to pay 50 million for Semenyo, I know the wages would be lower, but I'd rather just, go for a more top class player with that kind of money. He has been doing great. I mean, he has been doing better than what we have this season in terms of wingers. I mean, as we went through it the other day, we said like almost out of the 20 teams in the Premier League, at least 16, 15 of them have better strikers than us. And then if you look at the complete forward line, the first three players, the top three players, at least 12 of them have better front three than ours, which is it's concerning. Even Ipswich have a better striker than ours. So that is a bit concerning. So Semenyo, Bournemouth value him at 50 million. I think I had, is it Man United or Tottenham? One of them want him, but he'd definitely be an improvement for our team. But for that kind of money, I'd be looking for other players like Kudus or Boemo to get for that kind of money. But he's another player who might be leaving Bournemouth if the right offer comes in. So why are we looking for forward players as well? Well, Gabriel Jesus is undergoing further scans to determine the length of his injury. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season. Sam C also reported that Julian Timber is expected to be fine. Jorginho is also expected to be okay despite dealing with a tight calf. And Ricardo Calafio's situation remains unknown. Gabriel Jesus undergoing scans. So they're saying it could be an ACL, which will mean the whole season. It's not been the same since the injury that he got from Brazil at the World Cup. He was firing for us that season. He's one of the reasons why we were competing for the league that season, right from preseason. He was scoring hat-tricks, scoring a brace against Leicester in I think the second game of that season. He was very good for us that season until up until the World Cup. He got injured, and when he came back, he was never the same up until recently when he's had a good 5 games or something, 4 or 5 games recently, a patch of 4 or 5 games, but it's never been the same. And people already talking about him being sold this summer, but now with the injury, he's not going to be sold. So that those wages are going to remain in the club, unfortunately. So again, when luck is not going your way, it's really, really, really bad, because that's another injury that we didn't need, and he's the only one who was playing okay at the moment, and now he's injured. So yeah, it's just a combination of too many things going wrong. And we already needed forward players before them, and now he's injured. Now we desperately need players, because now, even if you put quantity to the side, now we just don't have anyone to play that. We are going to have to play Havertz in every single game between now and the end of the season. When his confidence is shot as well, it's not going to work, because now things are going to continue going wrong. You know why? If the Havertz that was shooting the ball against Southampton from outside the box, the one who was chipping the ball over the goalkeeper against Brighton, that was a confident Havertz. That was a Havertz that was feeling good about himself. He was scoring goals. He had a good run at the end of last season. He had just scored a double against Chelsea. He was feeling good, but now that confidence is not there. Now we're going to experience things like we've seen with Zaxi at Man United, where he goes through and he doesn't want to shoot. He wants to look for a pass, and he don't want that in a strike. And in a vital moment like this, you don't want that in a striker. So we can't be playing him in every single game. That is not going to work. Off the bench a few games, starting a few games here and there, fine. But starting every single game, that is going to be, again, his confidence is just going to go and drop and drop and drop even more further. Julian Timber is expected to be fine, which is great, because I was starting to think, okay, if Timber is out as well, then that means, what that means? Partey at right back. And we need Partey in midfield, but if Timber is injured, if he was injured, I mean, that is what is going to happen. It's going to be Partey at right back, because on top of that, Calafio is now injured as well. So we don't have enough players, so it's going to be Partey at right back unless you play Lewis Kelly at right back and then introduce Zinchenko or at left back, which again, I know a lot of people would not want that. Luckily, Timber looks to be fine, and then Jorginho is expected to be okay despite dealing with a tight calf. Jorginho should never be playing like 120 minutes. He should be a player that he plays 70 minutes and then gets subbed off and then comes on for a few minutes. I don't think people wanted Jorginho to be sold in the summer. I definitely did not want him to get sold. I think it had an impact last season, and the time we won a lot of games in a row, it was him, Rice, and Odegaard in the midfield, and we were beating those teams by 5 goals, 6 goals. He had magnificent games against teams like Brighton away last season, but you cannot depend on him as well. Jorginho is a player who's supposed to be coming on the last 20 minutes and then maybe starting a Carabao Cup and then maybe starting a Champions League game here and then getting subbed off. It's not supposed to be starting every single game in a big week like that. Ricardo Calafio's situation remains unknown, unfortunately. So I'm just hoping it's not. I mean, we did a lot of shows when you're about to sign him, and I remember looking at his injury record, like 4 or 5 different videos, and I did say, I mean, it is a bit concerning. It's an opportunity to sign a player that is wanted by a lot of teams, yes, so go ahead and get him. But the injury is a concern. If he comes in, he becomes like Tomiyasu and those other players. It's dangerous because Tomiyasu is injury prone. Timber is just coming from an ACL. Zinchenko is injury prone, and then now you have a Calafiori is injury prone, and Gabriel has picked up an injury this season. That's very dangerous. And the guy who sometimes play at right back in Partey can also get injured anytime. Very, very dangerous situation to be in. So it's a killer, man. It's a killer because now all of a sudden, if Calafiori gets another injury again this season, and as I said, those players are going to be leaving the other fullbacks. Again, we need another defender this summer. Another one again. So not an ideal position to be in. So that's the latest in terms of the transfer news and the players that and in terms of the players who are injured and in terms of injury news. Let's just hope things go well. The preview for the Tottenham game is coming up. That is must win is an understatement. So we just know what we need to do, especially if Liverpool drop points to Nottingham Forest on Tuesday. It is a big game. It is a massive, massive, massive game. So let me know what you make of that. Semenyo, would you pay 50 million for him, or do you have other players ahead of him? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.